Welcome into episode 44 of JD's Empire Sports Talk here at the end of May with once again CT the Hammer here for Yankees and Mets talk. Both teams doing really, really well. We'll get into that in a little bit. But before I forget, and of course ask CT how he's doing, I just wanted to put out there that next week, we haven't decided what day yet, but it will be earlier in the week. Me and Jake Biggie Mills will have everyone saw we're collabing for a more traditional sports show that'll probably be like 2 hours one of the nights during the weekdays, but we're trying to see what the Knicks and Pacers series is going to get to because we kind of want to start after that, but we'll see what happens. But I want to encourage everyone go out there. It's going to be live on YouTube. We're trying to get it live to Instagram as well, so if someone can't get on YouTube, at least they can get to that. We'll have a bunch of reels out there. CT will be a guest. A few other people as well as time goes on. We just want to build up the show, of course. But CT, how you doing? And any thoughts on the new like not new show but kind of new show if I could put it that way?
I'm doing great, JD. I mean, it's been mostly cloudy today. I mean, you could say it's more of a reflection of towards how the Mets are playing, but we'll get into that. Now the New Yankees playing great. I mean, there's nothing else to complain about.
Yeah, we just gotta hope the weather gets into the summer form because the rain and the clouds and everything is not what we want with June coming around. But just like you just said, the Yankees are playing great baseball, and we'll start with them like we have so far for the few times you came on the show. They're at 35, right? 35 and 20 right now. A very, very good team. 10 and 2 in their last 12 games. They had a mix of a 7 game winning streak, and they're currently on a 5 game winning streak right now. So they're playing really good baseball. I know there was a few different things I wanted to talk to you about, but what do you think is the main driving points behind just their recent play of being well? Because obviously this entire season they've been a pretty good team, but it feels like the last 2 weeks they've taken another step forward, which maybe people didn't see coming just because the type of players they had on their team, maybe they weren't going to get to this level. But I mean, every year the Yankees are a pretty good team, and it seems like they're hitting the summer stretch just like they normally do.
Absolutely. I say the main reason why the Yankees been really good lately, it's been their starting pitching's been outstanding. Especially Will Warren. He's been phenomenal. Getting deep into games, 5 innings, quality innings, striking folks out. Carlos Rodon, he leads the league in terms of batting average against, and then
Yeah,
Max Freeze leads the league in ERA. Those guys have been phenomenal in the rotation. Bullpen's been great as well, and also Cody Bellinger. That's been the standout the standout player offensively too. That's the main reason why this Yankees kind of taken off. I mean, Cody Bellinger was on a hitting streak for a long time. He's been outstanding in the middle of the order, cleaning up behind Aaron Judge. So it's just starting to come together for the New York Yankees right now.
yeah, I was about to say Bellinger is one of those guys that everybody's seen. He's been on a few different teams, of course, in his career, but he has the type of ability to carry a team for it could be a week, it could be 3 weeks, a month. It doesn't matter. He's that type of player, and especially obviously Judge is insane. He's having probably it's crazy to say career season right now, just to start. And then when you have someone like Bellinger, a lefty bat, I know he's not that type of like guy that's gonna hit 60 home runs, obviously, but he's gonna do everything that he has to do, play great defense, and the bat is starting to come along, which I think that people were expecting. It's tough, man. When you come to a new team and you feel like you have a lot of pressure on you, and when you get thrown into the middle of a lineup, it's like, oh, okay, they really trust me, and I got to go out there and I got to show everyone what I can do because obviously he's had a really good career, been on a, a bunch of different good teams, but when you get to a new place, you gotta.
Mhm.
I feel you gotta prove yourself, kind of all over again. Like you gotta show this fan base and this team that they believe in you. You gotta show them why they should believe in you, and I like that a lot. And then with the pitching plans, I know you said Will Warren has been outstanding, and he has been. I know he's a guy that's been picking up a ton of strikeouts, helping this team a lot. When you and I talked about this in the first time we had the show before the season started, you were like, "Yes, I like the rotation, but the back end is a little questionable." I kind of feel like he's shored up at least one of the question marks that is there in the back of the rotation, and be like, "Oh, okay, he's going to go out there and do his thing." And first, I want you to go through Will Warren again in the sense of can he make it through the entire season pitching at this level, or maybe a little lower because obviously this level is really good. And then second, because I know in your notes you wanted to talk about like a trade deadline plan in terms of the pitching, and then we'll get into the hitting after. Um, do you think that they'll go out and get a starter, or or a reliever or both? Whatever. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Before I get into that, I like to shout out Ryan Yarbrough. He's been outstanding too when he's having to when he has to like pitch every fourth or fifth day. He's
Yeah,
been outstanding too.
he's a long time reliever too, for the most part. He's not
Yeah.
really a starter, and he's getting it done. That's really good. I
He's
forgot to mention him
versatile.
as
Yep.
well. Yeah,
So in terms of that, I mean they could add another starter, it would never hurt because I mean it's a long season and it's hard to just make it through the whole 162 and then into the postseason. The better arms you got, the better. Whether it's that or the bullpen. I mean, I believe they're going to add another bullpen arm because having guys that can come in and shut down the door in the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning is so valuable. Even in the sixth inning, because sometimes those sixth inning can get a little dicey and you get runs in score position. And you need to shut the door down. So they'll probably add another bullpen arm. I mean, it'd be great if they added a starter, but I, their priority is probably going to be the bullpen arms, and then later on I'll talk about offensively.
yeah. So one question I wanted to go back to was there. So you're saying a bullpen arm. I think that just because the way the bullpens broke out for the Yankees throughout this season seems like Devin Williams has settled in as the eighth inning guy. Luke Weaver's the ninth inning guy. In a playoff game, we always see the best bullpens are teams that can go in there after the fifth inning and completely shut down the game. So obviously in the postseason, maybe Devin Williams can move up to the seventh inning. Luke Weaver, if they really desperately want to get that win, which of course in the postseason you want every win, Luke Weaver can go out there and pitch two innings. Or maybe you can go out there. What do you think? Maybe a multi-inning guy that can just shut it down for two innings perfectly and then pass it on to these two. Because obviously we're still early in the regular season, but we got to look at it in the sense of we know this is going to be a postseason team, most likely division winner. They're going to have the expectations of getting back to the World Series because that's the type of team they are. Do you think that getting that maybe it'll be a multi-inning reliever, or would you go sell out for the highest caliber reliever? Maybe that is usually a closer on a bad team that can come in and be a seventh inning guy. What's that kind of that balance? Because I know you're saying maybe they should get a starter, but then if you go out there and get that multi-inning talented reliever, then it's like okay, then you don't even need to worry about getting a starter because then that starter can go five innings, say, get around the order twice, and then the last four innings they won't even get scored upon.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on who's going to be out there in the open market. But in terms of finding that guy that can give you multiple innings, that'd be crucial for the Yankees. But I believe like the Yankees are set up really good right now. They got really good starting pitchers. You can add a bullpen arm if it's out there and it's available.
Mhm.
That'd be great. But the Yankees are in great shape right now. And it's just add another arm just to give you another dimension to that bullpen.
Yeah, okay. So I like what you're saying there. So it's not like a necessity, but if you want to go deep into the postseason and not rely on maybe two guys to get you through the entire thing, it would be nice to have another piece. I like that a lot.
Sure.
And
They have Fernando Cruz who's been on the IL, so
yeah, yeah,
he's definitely
he could
gonna
fill
come
that
back.
role. He definitely could fill that role.
Hmm.
He's a really good
And
pitcher.
yeah. And
And
Lovazica too. He's been well. He's been
mhm,
doing really well.
right.
But the only concern with him is just the injury problem. So
Yeah,
that's why it'd be good to add an arm. Yeah.
which obviously you don't want later in the season when you're counting on these guys. And to make it through, of course, a long season all the way to the end of October, because that's the goal. So the next thing I wanted to get to is the offense. I know you had a few notes on Volpe. You said that he's improved and you've enjoyed that because obviously he seems like he's going to be the shortstop really no matter what for the next, 12, 15 years for the most part. Just kind of feels like that's his role on this team. And I want you to talk about Volpe a little bit. And then I know you mentioned Bellinger already, of course, Judge, but how do you feel the overall offense has come into play? And then after that, I just want to talk about a specific injury, and then some guys coming back, of course, as well from injury. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. So with Volpe, it's just can he can he come down the stretch, game on the line, whether it be the fifth or sixth inning, just get that key RBI, or just to lead off the inning just to get on base. I mean, him and Jazz, I think they're going to be crucial down the stretch because there's going to be guys in scoring position. You got to get them in because especially if you get deep in the season and you get into October, the opportunities to score runs it shrinks. You're
Yeah,
facing better pitchers, better quality pitchers. So yeah, the guys 5 through 9 in the order, they're going to be crucial, and it's going to be really on them to see if how far this Yankee team can go.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially like you just said in the postseason. If you have any chance of having guys on base and then scoring off of them, that could be huge for not just one game, but set up an entire series. Because say you go out there, you don't hit with runners in scoring position in game one of a series, and then that kind of saves that team's pitching staff for the rest of it. So that could just be a make or break. One inning can make or break really an entire playoff series, and even in the regular season as well. Like I know they have a comfortable lead right now. I believe it's 7 games, but you never know what can happen, and you don't want to let the foot off the gas pedal a little bit. So I think that's very important to note. And then with the injuries, the one I know, Oswaldo Cabrera, that was a gruesome injury, ankle injury. I want you to talk about maybe what he meant to the team, because obviously he's not a superstar. We all know that, but he did have a specific role in this team. And then maybe any other injuries that have happened along the way, and then possibly guys coming back, because I know Stanton is a huge question mark, and people are kind of saying like, obviously Stanton's going to play, but who was that push out of the way? Because Ben Rice has been good for this team. Seems like Dominguez has found his footing in the big leagues after struggling in the beginning. You never want to deny Trent Grisham because he's that type of guy that can go out there and change a game for you. And his bat has been surprisingly good as well this year. So take me through like the kind of the puzzle pieces with that and the injuries as well.
Yeah, so starting out with Oswaldo Cabrera, he got injured a couple of series back against the Mariners, and that's a big loss. Even though he was a platoon guy at third base, because he was a great defender, he's athletic, he gives you solid production at the plate, and just in the clubhouse, he just gives you that positive energy, and he's always upbeat, and he's just a true professional. So that's a big loss for the Yankees. But the guy's coming back. I mean, I expect Jazz. He's going to be coming back. I mean, Jazz is I believe he's starting to rehab at Double A with the Patriots, and then you got Giancarlo Stanton who'll be back, and Luis Gil, which would be big for the team because those are really good baseball players, and they're only going to help this team going forward.
I forgot about Luis Gil as well. I mean, if he comes back and that kind of if they don't want to give up prospects to get a starter, he could be that type of trade deadline acquisition just within the team, obviously. Any before I get to specific report that came out, any other like certain notes you want to hit on, or what you want to see from your Yankees? Probably we'll do it this way until like maybe the next time you come on, so the next month or 3 weeks or whatever. Things you want to see from them up until that point. So next time we speak, you'll be like, oh, it's almost the All-Star break, and this team is flying high even more than what they were doing since the last time we spoke. And then we'll get into that other situation I think is worth talking about.
Oh yeah, I like to see Dominguez, Volpe continue to hit, continue to have good at bats. Because I saw even yesterday, like they intentionally walked Aaron Judge twice in the first 2 innings, and it led to a 1-0 game, and they were able to win it, but they were able to get have more runs to the scoreboard.
Mhm.
So I would like to see that the middle of the order getting going, and later down the stretch, they can maybe even intentionally walk Cody Bellinger, for example. They'd be like Dominguez, Volpe beat us, or Wells beat us.
Mhm.
So those guys are going to have to make the pitchers pay and deliver. And also, I would like to see at the trade deadline, Brian Cashman said it, but him and the Yankees are looking to add a right-handed bat, preferably at third base. And I think that'd be huge for this Yankee lineup. And that would
Okay.
put them into a true contender, yeah, to a World Series team.
Yeah, okay. So you kind of are looking forward to hopefully these young guys develop as they play, which sometimes is a little tricky, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have no, I don't think they have as much pressure as maybe people put out there because we always see in the media like this and that about certain young guys. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think the pressure is as high on them when the team's in first place. You kind of feel like you got to just play, know your role and blend in. And the one thing that I wanted to mention was I know when the Mets played the Yankees in the Subway Series a few weeks ago, it was, I think, believed they walked Judge and Bellinger to get the Volpe, and then Volpe struck out. If I was
Yeah.
right in that Sunday night game, and then that could be a plan that, especially in the postseason, like why, if I don't have to pitch to Judge, I'm not going to. If I believe that someone after him isn't going to hit, I think that's the thing. It'd be like if all those guys, if Volpe, Wells, and Dominguez are all hitting, be like, oh man, I think I have to try to take my chances with Judge because these guys can come up and make it even worse. Like I'd rather go up a run than 4 runs. But if they're
Yeah.
not going to hit, If they're not going to hit, then they're like, okay, I'll take my chances and see what happens. If they do good against me, then that's the case. But it is what it is. And then the last thing I want to talk about involving this kind of connection between the Mets and the Yankees, of course, because Soto in the offseason went from the Yankees to the Mets. And then the Subway Series was very I don't know the word I'm looking for. It was hotly contested, definitely with the fans and Soto. This series as well, I think it was as closer than people think. Obviously, game one it was 6-2, I think, like something like that. Then the Mets won game
You're
two.
right.
Game three was definitely close until the end. It kind of got out of hand in the eighth inning. But a report came out from Michael Kay, who, for me personally, I respect him. I'm not a huge fan of his talk show. When he had it with a few with Don LaGreca and Peter Rosenberg. Now he kind of does it himself, different time slot and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of his style, but the report came out that Soto left the Yankees. It was more so of his family feeling that they felt more comfortable with Steve Cohen, Alex Cohen as well, Alex Cohen, Steve Cohen's wife, and just like the whole Mets environment. I don't know how much stock to put into that, just because I understand Michael Kay is the play-by-play announcer of the Yankees. So he definitely has like an inside scoop on things. But I have heard other things from him in the past, not just about like baseball, just in general, other reports that weren't always true. And it was a thing that I know it has nothing to do with this, but reports about like someone like Aaron Rodgers, who he kind of said that this and that about him. But meanwhile, you had the guy on your show and you were all nice to him. So like it kind of feels like maybe he's still upset that Soto's not there. I don't want to believe that because I feel as a professional, you can't let your feelings get in the way. But I want to get your take on this as well, coming from the other side, because I'm trying to remove myself as being a Mets fan from that situation. But keeps coming back to me, be like, yeah, I've listened to this guy for a number of years on the radio and TV when you were able to watch on TV. Kind of felt like when things didn't go his way, he would take it out of proportion. Do you feel that way? And just like your overall thoughts on this, and the entire it was a kind of a bizarre like quote, honestly. Just it kind of wasn't expected. I don't believe.
It wasn't expected, but I mean, it kind of seemed like to me that Juan still loved. He kind of loved the atmosphere of the Yankees. He loved the players, the teammates. I mean, the coaching staff, and he even loved the fans last year. It seemed like
Yeah.
he was genuinely happy to be back in the Bronx when he came to the Yankee Stadium for that 3-game set. And so there's some truth to that. I mean, if Cohen wasn't the owner, he probably most likely would have been a Yankee because they offered him more. But he made this decision that he believed was best for him and his family, and what he believed will help him win a World Series and cement his legacy. So that decision's been done. So yeah, that's how I feel about Juan Soto overall.
Yeah, and a few other things I wanted to add to that was he definitely, I mean, me and you know this, like we've played college baseball. When we move on, like obviously you've moved on. We both have moved on so far, and obviously you're done now, but like I moved on as well. It's like you do miss the atmosphere of like teammates. Sometimes with coaches it could be hit or miss, obviously, depending on what happens, but it's like you miss that. So obviously like seeing Soto talk to his teammates, I mean, and that was a successful team as well. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I feel like even if the Yankees won 50 games last year and Soto was on that team, he would still have that type of relationship with his teammates because he was with them every day. They go through the same maybe things they struggle with, things they have success with. They do that together, and I feel like that's why he felt that way. And usually the players that come back and face a team and don't really interact with their former teammates, that kind of says more about them than the team because like, oh, you're not talking to the guys that you spend time with literally every day for like 9 months. Like, what's up with that? So I feel like Soto definitely enjoyed his time there, and the fans, of course, loved him. I mean, he's a superstar, and then I don't see why not. And then with them, I know Michael Kay mentioned about how he looks miserable with the Mets. I really don't think that's just the team. I think that the guys get along with him. I really feel that he's feeling the pressure, and he's putting the pressure on himself. Of I have this big contract, and I'm not playing up to it, nowhere close to it. I have to start
Mm-hmm.
hitting, and I feel like that's why that's where that angle's coming from. I feel he's that he may not look as happy as he had in his career because he's not having success, and this is really the first time that's ever happened to him. The last time you can really compare this was San Diego where he was still way better than what he's done right now, but wasn't as good, and he kind of looked like he didn't want to be there. I don't think it has anything to do with like fan base, like coaches and stuff like that. I really don't think so. I know there was a one little incident that happened against Boston a few last week when he didn't run up the busted up the line. He's like, "Oh, I did." I kind of felt like he maybe didn't interpret the question the right way, and maybe as like himself, he'd be like, "Oh, I did hustle. That is my version of hustling." Because we know someone
Hmm.
like Robinson Cano, his version of hustling was basically almost walking to first base. So it could have been the same type of thing. So I think that Mets fans in
But
general.
he did play every day though.
Yes, yes, that is true. Yeah, he used that as his excuse, playing every day. But Soto, I think that he definitely has a lot of love from the Mets fans. No fans are turning on him at all. I know he moved down in the order a little bit. He seemed like he doesn't have a problem with it. I mean, we're not in the locker room, so we don't know. But I feel like overall, Michael K, there could be some truth to that. But I feel like he
Hmm.
once again may have blown it out of proportion. But that's just my opinion. Let's move on, unless you have any final thoughts on that before we move on to just the Mets and how they're doing.
Yeah, I got one last thought.
Okay.
It was Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank is upset at one sort of right now for his lack of. Did you hear what he said about him?
Frank the Tank
He
doesn't
said
count. He
he's
doesn't
probably
count.
going to be the biggest bust in the history of the universe.
He doesn't count. He doesn't count as a Mets fan. They're 34 and 22. Nothing makes that man happy. He doesn't count. I'm sorry. He just doesn't. He doesn't count. I mean, he could be sitting there watching a game. You ever see? I don't know if you ever saw the videos of him. I hate to talk bad on the guy because I'm a fan of him, but I mean, he's sitting there watching a game, like breaking
Yeah.
glasses and like breaking things. Like, I mean, you're not going to go 4 for 4 every game, and when you can't go 162 and 0, it's just not possible. So he doesn't count. The
That's
normal
true.
Mets fan, like that, I don't think we're all in the same boat as like we're okay. Like, listen, we don't want the guy to stink it up, but like we're not gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
overreact. So except for Frank, he's out there somewhere in terms of his Mets takes. He calls him the ultra mega bust.
Yeah.
Soto,
Yeah.
he's a Yankee spy. I mean, some things are out of control with that
Yeah.
man.
Spy.
But let's move on to the Mets, who are 34 and 22. So I repeat something I can repeat from last week. The sky is once again not falling on this team. They are playing kind of 500 baseball for the past 2 weeks, which I mean, it was bound to happen when your hitting is not up to its billing as the sense of the Mets before the season. They were supposed to be like a top 5 offense. I know UCT,
Mhm.
you alluded to that. You said though that certain guys had to step up for that to happen, and it kind of feels like those guys have stepped up. The guys that were penciled in as being supposed to be productive aren't. So it's kind of weird. Um, they're a second place team right now behind the Phillies. I know the Phillies didn't have a particularly hard schedule the past couple of weeks, so they kind of jumped up over the Mets because of that. They won the games they're supposed to win. The Mets have the Rockies on the weekend. That is a must-need sweep, or else me and Frank the Tank will definitely have a heart attack over that. And the lineup, something I just said, the lineup has fell off a little bit. Can you maybe tell me why that's the case? Obviously, the elephant in the room, Soto not being productive, but is there anyone else that you maybe feel that isn't doing their part? And also, I know Lindor and Alonso have cooled off a little bit, so that's a big part of it as
Mhm.
well. But even though those guys have cooled off, you still have enough talent in that lineup to do something, right? I mean, I'm not going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the biggest reason why it's not offensive fireworks for the Mets right now, not quote unquote orange and blue skies like the Knicks, it's because of the top of the order with Lindor. He fell off a little bit. I mean, it's a long season. I expect him to play at a superstar level again. Obviously, Juan Soto. That's the big reason too. He's been getting into a lot of two strike counts and a lot of ground balls. So that's what hurt the Mets too. I think he's been 0 for 14 in his last at bat. Yeah, and also Pete Alonso. He hasn't been. I mean, he's still doing good. He just hasn't killed it like he did like first earlier part of the season. But that's the main reason why this match hasn't taken off. And Beatty's been fantastic though. Beatty's been probably one of the few guys in Atlanta that's been hitting. He's been raking.
Yeah, and someone I still don't like. So I don't know. Maybe he's got to do a little more for me. But did hear from a bunch of people outside of like being Mets fan, who are like, yeah, trust me, Beatty's gonna do it. and a specific Mets fan or two that I'm friends with. They're like every time he does something good, they just text me Beatty in all capital letters. So I guess I'm gonna hear it. But I mean, I had a right to be angry about the guy. I mean, he came up, he did well, and then kind of got hurt his first year.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, he really has had no success. Kind of feels like he's taken Vientos' spot, which is crazy to say after what Vientos did last year, and the regular season into the postseason. Kind of
Yeah.
feels like their roles have flipped. I know Vientos has been atrocious at third base, so I really wouldn't put him there either if I'm the manager.
Plus, Beatty, he's a better defender. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Beatty's a really, I mean, he's playing great over there. And I mean, if he's going to hit, then it gives you no choice. You'd be like, okay, he's definitely going to play third
Mm-hmm.
base then. Why would you not put him there? Uh, Vientos is obviously going to get his opportunity because someone that had that much production last year, you can't just erase the guy. But when Winker comes back, other guys, Mauricio could be on the way up. If those guys are going to perform, Vientos might have to be on the bench more than expected. Um, One other thing I wanted to mention, actually two pitching things before we move on. I know I didn't mention this in the notes after the fact. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on the NBA playoffs, if you don't mind, at the end, if we have time.
Mm-hmm.
But two other things I had here was Edwin Diaz has been absolute dynamite. Kind of feels like 2022 version of Edwin Diaz once again, where he goes in that ninth inning and they have no chance of even sniffing the baseball off of him. Kind of feels like it's went that way for the past month or two, month and a half, really. He had like some hip injury. After that, he's been absolutely brilliant. Hasn't given up a hit since May 5th, so that's basically we're coming up on a month of not even a guy hitting the baseball in play against him and recording a hit, which is
My goodness, that's
impressive.
outstanding.
Which is impressive, yes, especially for a closer. And then no earned runs since the end of April. So, do you think this version of Diaz is here to stay, or do you kind of feel like it's a mirage and it's going to kind of come back down to earth a little bit? Because 2022 he was insane. Last year he was good, but it didn't. It took him a long time to get to his version of good, which I don't even think he was great in the postseason. I kind of felt like he still had more in the
Mm-hmm.
tank. I kind of feel like he's found it a little bit here once again.
Yeah, so with Evan Diaz, he's been one of the best closers for a couple of years now. So I mean, I expect this dominant performance that he's having recently to dip a little bit, but
Yeah.
I still do expect him to come in there for the Mets and to close that ball game. So I don't expect him to come from dominant like Mariano Rivera, like to all of a sudden can't get a save to save his life. So
Yeah.
I expect him to
Hopefully
still
not.
be outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, good. Because obviously, when you know this, when a team has a closer that you can go, okay, we have 8 innings of baseball to cover. Because when we get to that last inning, that team has no chance. And it feels like right now that's what the Mets are relying on, and it's great. It's great to finally see him at this level. Because obviously, I sound like an idiot saying that he wasn't good last year, but to this extent is really really nice to see. The last thing I wanted to say, just mentioning briefly that Senga's been really good this year, potential Cy Young candidate, which I think that maybe people didn't think that would happen just because of last year's injuries. How is this guy going to make it through a whole season when he threw 5 innings in the regular season and I think like 3 or 4 in the postseason? But he's been great, getting deep into games. Feels like the last two starts didn't start the game great, but bounced back after that first inning or two and was able to get through 6 innings against Boston and LA, who have two good offenses. I know the Red Sox are underperforming a little bit, but both of those teams
Mm-hmm.
definitely have one of the top offenses in the league, top half of the league for sure. And then Clay Holmes, man, I know we said it was going to be very tricky to see what he's going to do. He's been a really, I think, a surprise, honestly. Under 3 ERA. He's not relying on the strikeout, which I think is very big for him because he's able to get through more innings than people can think of, which is big because Clay Holmes is, I think he's at 60 innings or so already, so he's almost or at the point of where he was these past few years. So it's curious to see what he'll get through. A potential All Star as well. Anything you got on Clay Holmes? I don't honestly, as a Mets fan, I didn't expect him to be this good, and as a Yankee fan, I probably think you agree with me. You didn't think he would be this good either.
Not at all. I did not expect Clay Holmes to be this good right now. Under a 3 ERA. He's been really good for the Mets so far. Could it continue? What that remains to be seen. But I give him credit where credit is due. He's been outstanding for the Mets so far. The experiment has worked out so far. And Senga too, he's been outstanding too. He is pitching like a Cy Young right now, and that is shocking. That is very shocking because I did not expect him to be that good. I expect him to be around 3, 4 ERA, which is still solid, but not like dominant,
Not a
but
one, not a 1 year, right?
yeah. The Mets starting rotation is has carried them and picked up as they've done their job so far.
Yeah, that's
They
what
held up their end of the bargain.
yeah, 100%. I mean, Peterson as well. I didn't mention him, but he's been rock solid. I feel like he's been the most consistent out of the entire rotation because when he goes out there, he's giving you 6 or 7 innings, 3 runs or less. He may not have the ERA these two have a little higher, but he's still one of those guys that I feel like they got to get him under contract quickly because if he goes somewhere else, he can even become a better player. You don't want another Zach Wheeler, or someone else like that that's left the Mets, Seth Lugo type guy that leaves and becomes a lot better. So you want to make sure he's in the contract. Griffin Canning, another guy that probably, I mean, the guy never had lower than like a 5.6 ERA in his entire career. He's pitching to a 3 or so right now, a sub 3 ERA, which is great to see. But last thing I did want to talk about, I know I didn't have it in our notes at all. I don't want to put you on the spot, but just overall. NBA playoffs. I think at this point it's the Thunder's championship to lose. I kind of feel like that. Even the finals is going to end in 5 or less games. That's just my opinion. They're just that good right now. I know they got the Nuggets took them 7 games, but honestly, I feel like regardless if the Knicks or the Pacers win this series, I feel like the Nuggets are at that level or better. Honestly, this is the way
Mm-hmm.
it is. I just think that the Thunder are that good of a team. I mean, they're just so deep. They have a superstar, young team, young coach, and they just all buy in. That home, even the home crowd is insane there, and I feel like they won't even lose a game at home in the finals. But before that, I do want to ask you one thing: do the Knicks have any chance at getting this series to 7 games and then winning it? What do you think's going to happen with that series? Because me as a Knicks fan, I feel like this team the entire year they have battled. We saw the multiple 20-point comebacks. Seems like they play better in that situation, but losing game 1 the way they did, uh, game 4 kind of feel like it was there for the taking. They just could not get a defensive stop. I know game 5 is home tonight, and then game 6 would be that kind of that one game they really have to go out to win because game 7 will be at home. I mean, this was a team they lost to in 7 games last year as well. Maybe the tides can flip a little bit. What do you think? Me personally, as a Knicks fan, I don't want to give up, but I don't feel as confident as I did in the beginning of the series at all, honestly. And then whoever was win the series, do you agree with me in the sense that the Thunder have this kind of locked in, or do you think that the Thunder can have any trouble with any one of these teams?
In terms of the Knicks, I think they can win tonight just due to the home crowd, and the Knicks just never quit.
Yeah,
They're gonna compete for 48 minutes. They're gonna give it their all. I think they can get game 5. Whether they win game 6, I don't think they win game 6. I think Indy's gonna do whatever it takes to put them away in Indy because the Pacers don't want to go back to MSG for a game 7. So I think
absolutely.
it's gonna
I,
go
I
to
agree.
6, and the Pacers win in 6. And out of these two remaining teams, I mean, I think the Pacers have the best shot, but I don't think they're gonna beat OKC. That defense has been outstanding. I mean, they're playing like the Bulls defense like in '96. I mean, they just don't let you play iso ball. So that's why I think the Pacers will have a better shot because they move the ball more. And the Knicks, I mean, they can get a little to iso ball, which is not bad, but it's OKC. They just don't allow you to play iso ball. They come in, they're swarming, getting deflections, getting their hands in there. They're just a tough team to iso against. So yeah, this is OKC finals to lose. I think
Right.
they're gonna win it all.
Yeah, and the one thing I can say is that the Pacers definitely I don't think they're more talented than the Knicks, honestly. I really don't think so. It's just that they have more speed, which is something the Knicks struggle with. And I mean, if the Knicks get through the Pacers, I mean, the Thunder are even quicker than that. So I don't even think they would even sniff a win, honestly. But the Pacers, yes, they have a lot of speed, so I feel like maybe they win one game against the Thunder that gets them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just that the Thunder are just they're such a well-coached team and just very talented. And that defense, man, defense wins championships. I know people always laugh when people say that, but it is true. Defense does win championships. And when you have that better player that can take over the game like SGA can, kind of feels like that's the way it's gonna go. And it feels like this Thunder team is not gonna go anywhere either. I know usually when teams win championships they lose a piece or two, but it kind of feels like everyone's under contract for the most part. Seems like they're all bought in because it's tough for a team like the Thunder to go attract a huge free agent. So having the ability to have all these young puppies, pretty much, that this is like their second true run at a finals, and now they're here. It's like, okay, I mean, this seems scary. They have all these draft picks coming up, and they can do whatever they want. Maybe make a trade. I mean, I don't really see it. I would keep this group together. It kind of seems like they mesh really well together, especially with some key veterans in there as well. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on just the NBA playoffs as a whole, and
Right.
hopefully for me the Knicks win, because I don't want to see this end. I really want to see a championship or just get to a championship. I know they did do better than they have the last couple of years in terms of getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, but it feels like this series was theirs to take, and I feel like they left a lot on the table. But if you win the next three games and you get to the finals, everyone forgets that, and it'll be like, oh, we got to the finals this year. So hopefully, by Monday night, I'm smiling. If not, I'm gonna
Yeah.
appreciate what happened, especially beating a Pistons team that was obviously not as talented, but very stingy. They were a very annoying team to play against, and the Knicks took care of them. And then I know the Celtics, everyone's saying, oh, the Tatum got hurt, but it seems like the Knicks had them in control for the most part of that series after those first two
Yeah.
games. It kind of feels like, to me, how the Celtics got game five at home kind of feels like what the Knicks will do. They'll play outstanding tonight. And then I really don't think that. I mean, they might not get blown out game six because it feels like these two teams are very evenly matched. But I don't think the Knicks get game six. I agree with you on that. And
The
if
only
they do,
question mark
then
for
the
the
series,
Knicks,
huh?
the only question mark for the Knicks tonight is Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, if he's hobbling up the court, I mean
Yeah,
that's a big loss for the Knicks, and I'm not sure they can win it
yeah. I kind of feel like
because
he's
Karl
a
Anthony Towns is really good.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he hasn't been as. I don't honestly don't well, didn't watch him a ton before the Knicks, but it seems like he doesn't have the toughness to get through an entire playoff just run in general. I'm seeing it more
Mhm.
and more as games go on, but we'll see what happens. And also, for the love of God, can we please, if Josh Hart is turning the ball over think of a really bad quarterback in the NFL, can we please put him on the bench? I mean, come on. The guy's trying to throw alley oops, and they're getting intercepted. Like it's got to stop. If he's not going to do his job, he has
Right.
to go on the bench. Deuce McBride plays great every time he's in there. It seems like he doesn't get as many minutes as he wants. And also the starting lineup. I mean, I know you're an outsider to the Knicks, but you change your starting lineup and then you still play Josh Hart double the amount of minutes that Mitch Rob played. Like, what's the point of that? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, if you're going to change it, actually stick to the plan, which is what they did in Game 3, and it worked. I don't know why they went away from that, but it's all right. Hopefully, they come away with Game 5. Any final thoughts here? We got about 30 seconds left before it times us out here. I just want to make sure to get everything in.
Yeah. I'll be quick. Two things. One with the Knicks, I feel like they can add like a Coach D'Antoni to that be like one of the assistants just to run the offense
Yeah,
and
and it
still have
seems like
two
they're a little
possibly
more.
there.
They
Just
need direction. They need direction on offense.
correct. Yeah. The more free flowing, more ball movement, cutting and screening, and then SGA. SGA is tough. I mean, I don't think he's just a free throw merger. The man can get buckets, mid range threes, layups. SGA is like that. He's tough. He's proven why he's one of the best on the planet.
100%. That'll wrap it up for episode 44 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. Next week is a big week in terms of the show. First live episode we will have with Jake Biggie Mills, as that's his nickname, Biggie. And then CT will come on, maybe not next week, but we'll get him in during the live show, and of course these little episodes as well. A lot to come. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Thank everybody. CT out, JD out.